Hi and welcome to this Top 10 webinar for summer presented by the Spectronics consultancy team. And today we're going to look at apps for literacy support. And this is part of the Spectronics online subscription service. And here we are. My name is Amanda Hartman. I am the second face that you see in the line here, and I'm just one of the members of our consultancy team. And today I think you'll find that I am channeling my inner Mr. O'Connor, because Mr. O'Connor, of course Greg O'Connor, who is our professional services manager and also head honcho teacher on the team here, is very, very passionate about literacy support. And it's a fantastic thing for us as a team that we all bring different things to the table. And Greg is very passionate, as I said, about literacy supports, and he and I have worked together quite closely in the development of this webinar for today. And so if you hear me say things that Greg would say, that's because I've been working alongside him for 2 years, and it's good. So thanks, Greg, for your help putting this webinar together, and I hope that everyone out there can learn something. Now, so yes, of course, today we are talking about literacy supports, and the things that we're talking about is the need to provide literacy supports for those kids with diverse learning needs in our classrooms across all age levels. So whatever examples I give today, they are just examples for one moment in time in school, but all of the apps are actually very adaptable across all age levels, especially going from middle to upper. We are not today talking about those early literacy supports that perhaps provide specific phonics instruction, those sorts of early literacy apps. You know, we've got another webinar on that you can view that I've also put together. Today we're really talking about those enhancements that we can use as educators to support a person that has difficulty with the literacy process, with reading and spelling and writing process overall. We're not trying to make them a better speller or to decode better. We're trying to provide them with additional strategic supports that is going to enhance their learning process for them and bring them back as an engaged learner. And of course, the reason that this is so important is because that the ability and your use of effective literacy skills affects not only the English or the language learning area within the classroom curriculum, but it also goes across other areas of the learning curriculum. Like, you need to have effective literacy skills to participate in the science and the science experiments, and even in maths to a degree. So across all the key learning areas, literacy is really important. And the reason we bring the iPad into play with the literacy support is for a number of reasons, and it really comes back to that universal design. As educators, we need to find different ways of presenting material, so those multiple ways of representation, and the iPad can do that for us. It can give us alternative ways to present our learning materials to our students to help provide that additional support that they might need because of their diverse learning needs. The iPad also gives the kids an alternative way to show us what they know, so that multiple means of expression, so that they can't, it's not just it has to be every time a pencil and paper activity. Having the iPad puts the power in their hands for them to create alternative ways without that huge pressure on the whole literacy process, yet they can still demonstrate what they've learnt and what they know within the educational curriculum. And then, of course, the other big tick item for the iPad is its level of how it can engage a learner. And so, you know, that multiple means of engagement. So we've covered all those areas of universal design, and the iPad, because of its motivation, its engagement, the diverse ways in which things can be presented and used, the flexibility within it, it really is something that can be great to enhance the learning opportunities for all the learners in our classroom, and not just those who have learning difficulties or literacy delays or whatever, but all children can benefit from these forms of literacy supports in the classroom. So, without further ado, let's go into our top 10 list. And this list has been put together by Greg O'Connor, and these were sort of his top 10 list. So my job was to work alongside that list and put together this webinar. You will see some ideas and examples. I'll also give you a brief overview of how the app looks and how it runs, so you can make decisions about whether it might be appropriate for the students in your classroom. These are presented in no particular order. So number one is Popplet. So let's go to the iPad now and check it out. Popplet, of course, being an awesome graphic organizer. There are lots of others, but this just happens to be the team favorite. Let's check it out. Okay, so here we are in my iPad, and this is the Popplet full version, and you can see here I have on my iPad the ability to create lots of different little popples or Popplets there. And I'll also just show you quickly that there's an online section. So when you buy the full version of Popplet, it basically means that you can sign up and log in together, and it means that you can collaborate on a graphic organizer with other people in real time, which is really cool. Now I can't actually show you this working, but because sometimes we have technical difficulties, even techie people have technical difficulties, of course, and Popplet, the full version, isn't actually working with my mirroring on my computer to show it to you properly today. But I just wanted to show you those are the two added benefits, that you can create as many Popplets as you like, and that you have that online service if you were to purchase the full version of Popplet. But let's just have a look and check it out, because we're going to just open up at the basic overview of what Popplet looks like. So here we are, we're in Popplet. I can just tap my finger down, double tap my finger on the screen, and I've got my first thing. Now what we're going to create is that a word web or a mind map or any of those things that we might have talked about, that you might have called it before. So I have a central box, and I've got the triangles in either corner, which allows me to change and adapt the size of it. And then going along the bottom little tools along that black box, the first one is my border color, so I can choose whatever border color I want. The T is obviously for text, so you can type in whatever text you want. Of course there's a pencil, which we'll have a look at in a minute, but I'll just first of all, I'll click out of there, click back on it. I'm going to click on the little photo icon, which is the last one there. I can take a live photo, I can also copy and paste out of another app, but I can also open up our library, so our camera roll, and just find a picture and use that in there. So now you can see I've got the ability to add text and photos onto my Popple. I can also use a pencil to draw pictures as well on it. Okay, so that's the basic of the 4 tools of things that I can add to change about it. Now the important thing about how we use it is we've got these little grey tools. I've got my finger on that one, you can see moving on the right hand side of your screen there. That allows me to create another little branch or arm off there. So I'm creating this web, and I can change the color of it and you know, write in some of those main areas that the student might need to be investigating. And we might add another one. You can just click and drag them all over the show. Again, we can change the color. Maybe they need to think about the habitat and the diet of those are the 2 main ideas that they need to research. Now, of course, using graphic organizers is a really great way visually for kids to organize their thoughts. So it can be a really useful pre-planning tool for kids. You know, that whole planning process is really important in the whole writing structure of things. So kids need to be able to plan and organize their ideas before they go forward into writing. It definitely allows for more success because it allows them to look up words that are difficult to spell. It helps them to organise the plan and the framework for what they're going to write. And the other added benefit of Popplet is you might be able to use it, kids might be able to use it as a note taker, as a way that they can keep track. I've done it with kids where we've had ones going in a line and we've used it to create a visual timeline. And they've used that to write their story for a recount or for an historical piece. So there's lots of different ways where they can create their own structure to this. So what do? You create your Popplet. That's all fine and good. Now I just want to, have a different color at the background, no problems at all. I like the little export feature that we have within Popplet. So when I click export, what I can do with my mind map is I can email it off as a PDF or a JPEG. I can, as a JPEG picture image, I can also click Save JPEG, and now, as you can see, that's been saved to my photo library. So I've got that there. So I can either open up my iPad and be looking at it as I'm writing and typing, or I can print it out for myself and have it beside myself as I'm writing or typing. So that's Popplet, pretty simple and easy, but I'm sure you'll all be aware that there's a lot of there's a lot of instructional strategy that has shown that the use of graphic organisers is really good for kids with literacy difficulties. So that's why this is in our top 10 list for literacy, top 10 list for literacy supports. Okay, number 2 in our top 10 apps for literacy support is the app Forgetful. Now, Forgetful is an organisational tool, and it's a way that students can organise themselves, leave themselves reminders. But for kids with poor literacy, what it does is it allows you to leave a voice or a video reminder, which can, as I say, be really useful for kids that are struggling to type or write out everything that the teacher just told them to do without forgetting it, so they can quickly record their voice of what the teacher was that they wanted, that the teacher wanted them to do, so they don't forget. So let's check it out. Okay, so Forgetful is pretty simple. You can see that down the bottom we have a settings tool. We don't really need to go into that. That's just about upgrading. We can create new ones here. We've got pending ones that are about to happen, and also a current one that we're working on. So, or the one that has beeped previously. So let's just click new down the bottom there and we'll see what happens. You'll see it's pretty simple. Over to the side here you can see I can add a voice recording. I can also add a video, and there I have where I can optional. I can also write my reminder text and set my timing. So let's just do that. So for example, my daughter last week kept forgetting to bring her spelling words home. So I've just typed in bring my spelling words home on Tuesday. Okay, I'll write it in, and now I'm going to push. I'm done with the text there, but you could write as little or as much as you wanted in that text field, by the way. But let's put the voice recording on it now. I'm going to push the microphone, and you can see now I'm going to just record my voice. Don't forget to bring my spelling words home on Tuesday so that I can practice them for the spelling test on Thursday. Okay, so I've now logged that on there. And what I do is, what I like about Forgetful is actually that down the bottom here you can see I can set a time for when it's going to beep at me to remember to do that. So it's not just giving me, it's not just there and I have to check my calendar. It's going to pop up and tell me when it does, and then it's going to let me play an audio or a video reminder. And you can see where my notifications are there. So now I'm going to add this reminder, and you can see it's now there as a pending reminder, and it's going to go off in a couple of minutes time. So let's move on, and I'm sure it'll come back and beep at us later once we're talking. I'm sure it'll beep up and annoy us later. But that's Forgetful. Easy, simple, but a great organisational tool. Number 3 now that we need to talk about is ClaroPDF. And ClaroPDF is a tool that lets you make changes to PDF files. So much of the formatting of text that we might give to kids now might be in the PDF format. So worksheets and handouts are PDF. And by them opening up in ClaroPDF, you'll see that there's a few adaptations that's going to make accessing or reading or taking notes about that PDF information better for a student with diverse learning needs. Let's check it out. Okay, so here I am in ClaroPDF, and you can see I have just created a PDF document from Simple Wikipedia about kangaroos, if we were exploring about learning about kangaroos. So we've got them there, and basically along the bottom toolbar you can see I've just got arrows that lets me scroll through the pages. I also have, if I increase the text so you can see, so we can see the text there, I also have a play button.
A kangaroo is an Australasian marsupial. It belongs to the genus Micropus.
Okay, so it's reading with highlighting. So instantly, there's my first literacy support that I have. I'm not a very good reader. I can't read efficiently to be able to understand what I read. But having the text read aloud to me makes a huge difference to my level of comprehension. So, that allows me to understand what I'm reading and then make better decisions about my learning going forward. So that's the first literacy tool that, it does read the PDF aloud to you. The other thing that I really, really like about it is if you're a kid and you've got like a heap of text that you're reading in the PDF and you just need to look and find out about something in particular, there's a search button down here. So let's just say I can't find in the text where it tells me how many legs the kangaroo has. So I can type in this search button down on the bottom there. I don't know if you saw me do that, but I just pushed the little search button down on the bottom and I typed in legs, and you can see it searched the document and found where the word legs, and it's highlighted them into the passage for me. So now I can zoom in and read that. Oh, that's right, 4 legs, I've got it. That was a really easy question, I know. Okay, top toolbar now, we've got an open button. So obviously we're opening our PDF documents. We can also open from Dropbox. So maybe in a classroom environment, you might have a shared Dropbox account where you put their PDF documents that they need to read or annotate or whatever up there. So that's good. We also have the settings button, which allows us to make changes about the highlighting and the voices that you might use, etc., etc. Lets you link to your Dropbox. So that's good. So say done. We also have a few different things. Oh, we can go and have a look at those other buttons in a minute because we do need to focus on the pencil tool there. Oh look, there's Forgetful has popped up at us. And if I click on that now, it would take me back into Forgetful and I could play that audio recording back. So did you see how that would, no matter what we were doing, it's popped up and it's gonna, pop up at us until we don't forget to take our spelling words home, or whatever it is you've left the reminder for. Anyway, getting back to ClaroPDF, that's actually what we were talking about. What I just did then, I'll just click done so you can see, is I just pushed the pencil on the top bar. And what this is this is opening my editing tools that allows me to edit the text. When I have edit mode, I need to use 2 fingers to scroll smaller, bigger, but also to scroll up and down. I'm using 2 fingers on the screen to do that. So here's my text here, and the first button that I have is some text tools. So if I hold my finger down on that first button there, I hold my finger down on it, the first one is highlighting. So I can drag my finger over the important text and it will highlight it. Maybe, I've just got to highlight the important text. So if I hold my finger down on it again, I can also underline things. If I hold my finger down again, I've got a squiggly line. Maybe I might put a squiggly line under things that I don't know what that word means. So I need to go back and investigate what that word means. I can also cross stuff out. So to say, yeah, I don't need to know that bit there. I'm going to cross it out so it's gone for me. I also have a text tool. So I can tap on the text and I can type a note somewhere in there. And once it's down, I can click and drag it around on the screen, and that will stick on there as well. I also have this sticky note button, which allows me to add a lot more longer text. Oh, I'm just typing random stuff there. Okay, and then just click outside of it. So now, as well as having little notes on the page, I can click on it and I can actually see the bigger notes that I have there as well. Of course, I have a pencil, so I can draw things live with pencil, circle words, circle important information. I can also get the rubber tool and rub those tools out as well. Okay? So I can rub out bits where I've made a mistake or whatever. Okay, so that was the pencil and then the rubber. And then the next one here is a shape tool. So again, I can draw a square text around particular bits of font. I can do, underlines and cross things out or whatever I want to do. I also have a picture tool. When I hold down my finger, you can see I can add like an audio recording. So there's the sound button. So say I wanted to record the teacher with a particular quote and I wanted to embed it on my PDF file, I could do that. Maybe I wanted to take a photo of a slide that the teacher had up. I could take a photo, bring up my camera right there and snap the photo of his slide, there it is, and use that and embed that onto my PDF document, just so that I have that extra visual stuff that I needed to be able to understand everything there. All right, so that's enough anyway. If I say edit and I save it, it's saving all of that there. And then you can see I have a few different little options there. I can save it as a PDF file, flattening all the annotations that I've made onto it. I can also save it to Dropbox. And I can also open it up. I can email it to people. I can also open it in other apps as well. So I think you'll find that ClaroPDF for students, maybe they submit their assignment as a PDF file and you use it, their draft, you use ClaroPDF to make edits and provide them feedback on their draft. So it's an annotation tool that allows you to take notes and make edits, and maybe that's something that you could use, all your students could use. So let's move right along. Number 4 now is called Voice Reader, and Voice Reader, basically the main premise of it is that it will read aloud text in a PDF file, accessible text, or read PDF files, text from PDFs. And you're probably thinking, didn't we just see that in ClaroPDF and it had other features? Well, there's one thing in Voice Reader that stands it aside from other ones, so let's go and check it out. Okay, so here we are on the iPad, and before I do that, I just wanted to point out that because in my settings, in my accessibility, I have turned on that feature of speak selection, which means that any accessible text on my iPad I can actually have read aloud. Now I've just got, one of my students is actually learning about World War II at the moment in his classroom, and so I've just used simple Wikipedia to get some simple background information on World War II for him. Now, with speech selection turned on, I can hold my finger down on the text and then I drag the buttons there. Now you can see straight away that I have the ability to speak the website, to speak the text aloud directly from the website.
World War I, World War.
Okay, so I can have it read aloud to me. But let's see, let's push copy this time. I'm going to copy that text off the website. Now I have got a simplified view of simple Wikipedia. I pushed this 3.5 hot dogs or whatever you call it up on the website bar, and that stripped the content away from what it usually looks like. There's simple Wikipedia. I push it and see how it strips back the content, so the website, so it's less busy for students to read. So I've copied the text out of there anyway. That was just an aside. I'm sure you all know about that already. And now let's go into Voice Reader and see why we might choose Voice Reader over the difference with it. So here it is. I'm in my text accessible field again. I hold my finger down and I get the paste button, and you can see I was able to paste my text into here now. And I can push play, which will just read it aloud to you straight away, which is fine in whatever voice. I've got some neat toe looking American lady there. I think I have a couple of voice choices which I can look at in my settings button here should I want to. But what I want to do is I want to show you what this little button does here, this downloading or ways that you can use the file. If I click on it, you can see I can just save the text. That's fine. But what I want to do is I want to save the audio, and we'll call it World War II and say OK. And what it's doing is it's converting that written text into an audio file, i.e. an audio file that the student can play and listen to through their earbuds at alternative times, with or without the text in front of them. So if you've got a kid who's preparing for a test, or they need extra input to try and memorize or learn details, maybe a better way for them to do it is to be able to listen to it. So here we go. We'll just go out now here and have a look at our files. We've got text files, and down here you can see here's our World War II, and it's a M4A
World
file.
War II.
There it is.
Year WW2, also known as the Second World War, was a global war.
Okay.
It is said to have been taken.
I also have a share button here where I can email that audio file to myself so that I can put it onto my iPod and listen to it on the bus. People think I'm listening to music, but I'm actually revising what I need to know for my test. I can also click the open in button, and you can see that any apps that allow me to open it, so maybe Dropbox, if the file's too big, I can open it and send it up, import it up to Dropbox, export it up to Dropbox so that I can open it on other devices to play that audio file at other times. So yes, that is why we chose Voice Reader to be on our list, because of that ability for us to create an actual audio file, which can be a good way for students to get extra input in a different way for their text. Okay, moving along to number 5 now, we're going to look at Sonic Pics. And Sonic Pics is a pretty cool thing, and I think when you see it, and hopefully I can explain it well enough, Sonic Pics allows you to create basically a video file which combines the use of still photos, so you've got photos that you create narration over top of. Okay, so, and the uses of that, I've been able to create kind of like a PowerPoint video, I suppose, with your photos, with voiceover, is that as teachers, as an instructional tool, it means that maybe we can create different formats for kids, so that a kid that might not be able to read as well as other kids, we can create him a video to watch with photographs and spoken text. And so it allows us to create different kind of instructional tools. The converse of it, and the example that I'm going to show you today, is that it is a really easy to use app that means a kid could actually use it to produce his assignment. So instead of him having to write out his science experiment, he can take photos and then do a voiceover narration to create a video and submit that as his assignment. You know, so kids with literacy difficulties, we need to push our thought processes on how we assess what they know, because if the literacy is the barrier, does that mean they don't know what we need them to know? Is there different ways that they can demonstrate what they know? And Sonic Pics is one of those great ways, great tools that a student can demonstrate what they know, but in a different way. Let's check it out. Okay, so in Sonic Pics now, you can see basically I've got a couple of projects in there already. So I'm going to click New Project. And the project process is about putting all the photos together, and then the last phase of it is to add your recording. So we're going to do a science experiment, sink or float, and there we go. And then let's create that now. All right, so first of all, let's add an image for it that we need for the cover page. So I'm going to go into my camera roll, scroll down to the bottom where my photos are, and stick in a photo there. Okay, so you can see up on my top toolbar here, this is now my cover page where it's got the words and the written description, and now these are going to be all the images that I scroll through to make my recording. You can see down the bottom here I'm going to add images, so let's go ahead and do that now. So add images, and I've got a couple of different images that I want to add, and you can see as I click them, they're magically appearing over on the left-hand pane there. Okay, and when I'm done, I'll click blue for done. Now, if one of the pictures got out of order, that did happen there, I can just click and drag on the 3 hot dog bar down the side there. Now, the other thing that I can do is for each picture that I click on, I can, tap to put different text on it here. Ball in. It doesn't really matter how much I do or don't add to that text there. Good. Predictions. Whatever you want to write there. Okay, so once I'm happy overall with that flow of things there, I've added as many photos as what I need. I've got my title. I can add as many descriptions and image titles as I want. I'm now going to push up on the top hand corner the red record button. Now with the mirroring process, your screen image may drop out momentarily, so just stick with me and I will show you what we've produced at the end of it. Okay, so I'm actually, now you can see my first photo up on screen. What you can't see is that I'm being prompted to say, to tap on a record button to record. So I'm going to start recording my voice now, and then I'm going to swipe my fingers through each photos so that I can put together my video. So here we go. Again, the screen may click out, but I'll meet you back in 2 seconds. Today we're learning about whether things will sink or float. We tested them all out, blah, blah, blah. I say what my findings were. We were right, though the metal spoon and screw did sink and the plastic spoon and ball did float. Okay, so this was the last screen that I came to. This was my last slide. I have my record button, and what I did is I tapped on that button on the end there where it says to save my recording, and this is what it came up as. So here I am now. So what it's done is it's recorded my voice behind those photos that we put in. Let's listen to it.
Today we're learning about whether things will sink or float. The teacher gave us some objects and a bowl full of water. We had to predict what we thought would sink and what would float. We tested them all out.
Okay, so you get the idea there of it, and we've now got that saved there. So I just went back. Those are my projects I've got there. And these, when I go into each project, that's where I can make edits and change things. So let's go back. If I click up in this top hand corner here, I've got a recordings button. If I click there, it actually takes me and shows me these are my video files. Now you can see this one here is still actually compressing and loading, but one that's already loaded, say I did a recording on, you know, the steps getting ready for school. I've got the little share button there, don't I? Which is the box with the arrow coming out of it, and that's just to show you that once you've recorded your video, you can actually save it to your library on your camera roll. So it's on your camera, we can email it, you can send it to your computer via iTunes, all of those sorts of things, so that the sharing of the video that you've created is really easy in Sonic Pics, which means, you know, you can use it on other devices and use it within other apps as well. So for the students to be able to use, but also for the teacher to be able to use to create instructional materials, demonstrate what they know, Sonic Pics is a pretty easy one to use. Okay, number 6 now is the wonderful and awesome Explain Everything. Now, Explain Everything is what's called a screencasting app, which means you can create a video, voice recording, voiceover of whatever is happening on the iPad screen as you write or you type or you add pictures or you talk. It's a really, really great way, again, similar to Sonic Pics, except we've got more options, but a way that we can create different instructional materials to suit our classrooms and our students. And also conversely, that the students could use it to create their own learning materials as well, to create their own projects. So let's go and have a look and see how Explain Everything works. It can be as easy or as complex as you need it to be as well. That's the great thing about it. So let's check it out. So here we're on the iPad. Let's open up Explain Everything, and you can see here I've got some projects already saved, and I just want to, so that you've got the general idea of what it is we're trying to achieve, let's look at one that I've already made, and it's about teaching the Stinky E rule. Some of you might know it as the magic E. I don't really call it that, but anyway, this is just a really basic example for you to get the idea. Here's my slide that I've created, and I've got a recording behind it. I'm going to push the green play arrow down the bottom.
Okay, today we're going to learn about the Stinky E, and the Stinky E is when we hear the long A sound, for example. So when we hear the long A sound, if the A and the E walk together, because this E is so stinky, it's going to stink the A out, and he's going to go bleh. That's him poking his tongue out. So what has to happen is that the E needs to get pushed and jumped all the way along to the end of the line, to the end of the word, so he doesn't stink him out. So when we sound out the word like cake, it's k, A. Oh, too stinky, get to the end of the line, k, and then we fill it in. So the E has to go all the way along to the end of the line.
Anyway, you get the idea. So, can you see what we're trying to create there? We're creating an online on-screen video that we can use to provide an alternative instruction to students that need, perhaps they need repeated learning of an instruction. They need to watch a video over, just one, hearing the teacher say it once in the classroom is not enough. You need to make a recording of it so that they can watch back the recording 10, 15, 20 times before they learn the concept that you're trying to teach. So along the top toolbar, we've got 2 options in terms of adding. So when I click add, you can just start with a color template, which is what we're going to do. But we also have this add from a project from images, so you can insert a number of images, perhaps from your camera roll, from iTunes, from Dropbox, from Evernote. You can import images from different places and create a project from that. So we'll show you that in a minute too, but let's just add a basic white template today, and let's just have a go at it. So just so you've got a quick overview, we've got this bottom toolbar along the bottom here. These are my home buttons to get home, and my sharing features we'll look at. This red button is where I push record, and you can see my slides here. Down the side here, this is where I add a new slide. So let's go ahead and we'll push that button now. And you can see now I've got 2 slides. So I can flick through my slides here as I record as well. We've also got a drawing tool. So that's been selected now. That just allows me to draw on the screen. I'll click undo on that for the moment. And we've obviously got a text tool, and we've got an arrow, drawing arrows tool. Okay, so those are just some of the tools that you've got. If I've got an item selected, I push the red button to delete it off, and then I can delete it. So what we want to do though is we want to add something. So we want to insert an object. You can insert a file, you can insert a PDF file, and it inserts them as pages and slides, pictures and video live from the camera. But let's choose an existing photo and let's see which one we've got here. Once it's just loading to access. All right, so what it's doing is it's inserting this worksheet. So I can make edits to it here, but I won't. I'll just say done for the moment. And then I'm just going to click and drag it so that I've got it sort of centered in my page a little bit more so I can see it. Now, this is really quite a good visual tool for teaching 2-digit numbers, how to add 2-digit numbers. But for some students with literacy difficulties, it might still have too many words on it and they might still need it explained. And this is where you can create a video for them for repeated learning. So I'm going to push record now and show you how to use some of the tools. And if you can please judge me on my use of explain everything, and do not judge me on my I am not a mathematician, let's just say that. So please don't judge me on my ability to teach a student how to add 2-digit numbers together, because that is not my skill strength. Okay, so I'm going to push the red record button now, and let's see what happens. So I've pushed record. I know I'm in record. I can hear a little bit of an echo with my mirroring, so I know I'm now recording. Okay, let's begin this lesson on adding 2-digit numbers. Now, the most important thing is that we always consider the 1 column first. So we always add those first numbers in the 1s column. So 6 plus 7, of course, gives us the answer 13. And remembering that 13 should be looked at as being tens, 1 column of tens, and then 3 ones. Now that 3 ones automatically gets covered over to here, and that goes to there, and blah-de-blah-de-blah, and la-la-la, and this is what you do, and now we know. Pause. Okay, so I have recorded my voice now. I'll play that back so you can see what's happened. Pushed record. I know I'm in record. I can hear a little bit of an echo with my mirroring, so I know I'm now recording. Okay, let's begin this lesson on adding 2-digit numbers. Now, the most important thing is that we always consider the 1 column first. So all right. I'm just going to go out to home for a second, so I will save it yes and call it addition. I'm just going to save that project. It's just going to compress it a bit, and then we'll get rid of that echoing. Okay, so there it is there. So here's my project. I just wanted to show you my sharing features that I have. The first thing is I can actually just save this slide as an image. So I can export the image to my camera roll or to all of these places, as you can see here. That's one way. I can also export the movie that I've created onto a camera roll, and all of those other options there, which is good too. I can also export my file, save the whole project all together, and that's kind of like a backing up system if you want to go and back it up somewhere. And then that's my home button there. So there's lots of really great and fantastic ways that we can use explain everything, and you're really only limited by your imagination. I haven't shown you all of the tools and all of the things. It was a quick overview today. I would encourage you to go onto YouTube and type in explain everything in the classroom, and you may find that there's a lot of teachers that have put some fantastic examples of how they've used explain everything in the classroom. And sometimes when we see the amazing thoughts and ideas that other people have had, that inspires us to come up with our own ideas to make it suit and work for the students in our classroom. So I really encourage you to try explain everything. Oh, we're getting there now. Number 7 in our top 10 apps for literacy support. And this time we're going to talk about Pixter and Prizmo, which are similar ones. And what they are is they are called OCR apps. So they're based on that optical character recognition. So basically it means that with your iPad camera, you take a photo of a bit of text on a piece of paper. So it might be the text on a sign, the text on a menu, the text on a worksheet, the text a photo of the text inside a book, and then you're going to scan it so that you can turn it into on your iPad screen text. So let's try it out, huh? So let's open up Picster now, a really simple, easy to use app. Okay, so here we are. I'm just going to push the camera button up the top here, and you can see I can take a photo live. So, we're at the museum and there's a sign with some text on it that I can't really read very well. Or I can choose text from my library where I know that I've taken a photo of some text previously. So this is a worksheet that the teacher's asking me to do, and I've got to go home and do it independently. You can see I've got a few bit of extra things here, like a photo of my, my fingers have appeared in it and whatnot, and images. So I'm just going to use my little crop tool, which is down on the bottom left-hand corner, and I am just going to click and drag my finger so that just the text that I need scanned has been highlighted. And then I push the tick button on it there to say yes, accept that. And then I just push the tick button again down in the bottom right hand corner. And now it's scanning that text. So that was a piece of paper of text out of a book that I took a photo of. It's now scanning that, and it's got my text scanned here for me now, which means this is now accessible text. I can hold my finger on it and select parts of it. And of course, because I've got speak selection turned on in my accessibility settings, I can have it spoken aloud.
Imagine being a caterpillar for part of your life and having wings and being able to fly during another part of it.
Okay, so I've got my text there. I can copy and paste bits out of it. So that's pretty cool in itself. I also actually have the ability that I can stop and add my own notes to things too, because I have the text ability to be able to do that. I also quite like the little world button down the bottom here. So when I click that world button, you can see that it's actually a translator. So I can have the text scanned in English and I can have it translated into French for me. I think that's pretty cool too. Anyway, we'll go back. We'll just stick to English for now. That's about as much as I can deal with. And what I am going to do is just show you the sharing button. So up in the top right-hand corner, you have the square with the arrow out of it. And you can see that there's a few things you can do with the text. So you can email it to yourself. So again, you've taken a photo of the text in the museum and you have to write a project about it later. Sure, just email that text to yourself, or copy it, or even open it in another app. So you could see that I can click open another app to put it up to Dropbox, or maybe I'm using the iReadWrite text help one for some writing support. I can open up that text in that as well. I can just copy and paste it somewhere. So I've got good things that I can do with that text that I've scanned in. So how easy and cool is that? You're turning a paper copy of paper that's not very accessible for a student with literacy difficulties, and we're turning it into this nice on-screen digital text. And then we've got so many more options and how we can analyze and process that information. So that was pretty easy. It was just Pixter, and Prizmo, which has been around a little bit longer, does very similar things. So that's why they're both on the list there today. Now, number 8, we're going to look at Tubenotes. I don't know about you, but every now and then you hear about a new app that you haven't heard about before and you get really excited. Well, that was me last week when Greg showed me Tubenotes. It was all like, oh, cool, this is so awesome. I'm very easily excited often, so that's okay. So Tubenotes is really fantastic. What we need to recognize is that the world that we live in is different. No longer are kids only doing their learning with a book and paper and written materials. They now can learn so much from things like YouTube. I know they can learn bad stuff, yeah, sure, but they can also, there's lots of educational videos that's now provides an alternative learning source for kids. So YouTube, if the kids are watching YouTube and they've got a video that they're watching, Tubenotes allows them to make notes while they're watching the video. So let's see how it works. Okay, so we're going to open up Tubenotes now and see. What it does is, as the video has been played, you can just click on a notes bar that pauses the video while you're doing it, and it lets you, type some notes in as you go. So you can see here, you link in your YouTube account. So I could sort of envisage maybe as a teacher you've created a YouTube account for the kids to access with the relevant videos that they might need. There, you can also, what I've done is I actually imported some movies, which allowed me, it didn't copy them, it just lends a link to them, so of all the videos that I have on my camera roll. So I just imported a particular video and I've added it onto, and you create playlists for kids as well. So I don't know if you can see that down there, there's playlists. So I've just got a test playlist. This is where I've been mucking around with it in the last couple of days. So let's go into my test playlist, and you can see I've imported a couple of videos there. And we're going to go ahead and we're going to watch this one here. Now I do have to apologize. I don't think you'll hear the audio of this with my mirroring. Something's gone funny with the speakers on this one, but that's okay. You'll get the idea. The most important thing for you to note what I'm doing is, as I'm watching it, is I'm pushing this little red tag button. And when I push the little red tag button up the top here, it pauses the video for me to make a note. So that's what we're going to do. You can't really hear what they're saying, but you'll get the idea as we go. And I'm sure maybe you've seen this video already anyway. So at this point here, we're just talking about different ways that we can use paper. Make another tag there. Sticky notes on the fridge. You can also see, I don't know if you can see, but where I'm writing, there's also a way you can add a little voice note as well. And then I'm just pushing the green click. And you can see it's actually marking it. That's the screen capture of that moment in time on the video. So that's pretty cool too. So I will push tick and go, and we keep going. So a Sudoku puzzle. Yes. Keep going. Computer printing, all these different uses of paper that of course we use every day. Reading books, paper everywhere. Uh-oh, Emma. Toilet paper, uh-oh, he needs some toilet paper. Let's see how she helps him with an iPad. So you can see that was our video that we looked at, and you can see down the bottom here I have all my notes that I've taken, and when I click on them it takes me to that point in the video. So I've got the capture of the video plus my notes. What I like about it, yes, I have share features of course, but I really like this PDF button here. What it does is it creates a PDF file for me. So let's have a view of what that looks like. Look. What it's done is it's got the name of my video, and it's got the timestamp, and then it's got the picture stamp. So there's the photo taken from the video and then my notes written next to it. So this is a really fantastic, you've got the visual prompt reminding them of what happened in the video, as well as those typed notes that you've written there as you go along. And then of course with that PDF file, you can open it in lots of other apps. You could open it up in ClaroPDF. You just open it up in iBooks to read it out aloud. You could send it up to Dropbox so that other people could access it. So I don't know about you, but I find that I really like that. I'm thinking, the kids' note-taking skills and keeping all of that organized for them as they're watching a video, so that they can really remember what it was they were writing and thinking. I just think that Tubenotes is really fantastic for that, and I hope you get excited as what I do about such things. Okay, let's move on. Okay, now number 9 in our top 10 apps for literacy support is kind of a big section. It's kind of, we've chunked a few together, and that's because we're talking about word prediction. And word prediction, the use of word prediction and a few different literacy supports like that is a really, really, really good strategy for kids with literacy difficulties to support the writing that they're trying to do. And the reason that we as a team haven't just picked like one favorite in the word prediction apps is that because each of these apps that I'm going to show you present with their own features and systems and as such, that means that not one app is going to fit every single child. Each of these apps have their own features, which means what suits one student may not suit another, because each kid needs to be looked at as an individual of what they need for their writing support. So I'm going to show you each of these apps. I'm going to try and explain some of the different features and the things that they do. Of course, the word prediction is kind of the main overall feature that they provide. They provide, prediction of the words that are being the words that the child is trying to write. So that is a really good writing support for students with literacy difficulties. But each of them will present with different things. So let's check them out, and then hopefully at the end of it you'll be able to make a better decision and look at them and go, oh, okay, that's exactly the app that I need for this student, but that's the one that I need for this student. And that each of them in there, you don't have to only have one app. Each of these apps serve different features for different kids. So let's check them out. Okay, so here we are. Let's try Co-Writer first. Co-Writer, so it's just loading up. So in Co-Writer, just say, for example, a kid you're working on environment, sustainability, I don't know, and they have to write a persuasive speech about saving the earth. We must protect our environment. Okay, so as I'm typing, I don't know if you noticed, there was a, text appearing along the bottom of above the keyboard. So that was my word prediction. Still hasn't guessed environment. That's because it hasn't learnt that I'm using that word yet. And there's something else very tricky I would like to show you within Co-Writer as well. I should show you an easier example with more common words. So on, saying the. Doesn't want to tell me weekend. Went. Okay. So basically, I was just trying to type you a sentence where you could see those words coming up. What is pretty cool about it? First of all, we have speech. Okay, my sound is not working with my mirroring, but the text can be read aloud to you. Again, a really, really having their text that they've written read back aloud to them improves their ability to proofread and find the mistakes they've made. So that's very cool. Okay, the most important thing that I really like about Co-Writer is the use of what's called topic dictionaries. So you can type in words. So just say, well, before we were talking about World War II, weren't we? So they actually have an existing word bank on World War II. And see, now I've got that green, I've got that turned on. So now if I start typing words, see, I typed GE, and it automatically knew that maybe I was talking about Germany, because what it's done is it's loaded my World War II word bank. That's pretty cool. But if we go back to the environment example, let's turn off World War II now. Let's type in environment. So there is an environmental issues word bank. So let's try that out. Save the. As soon as I typed in EN this time, environment came straight away. So that's the strength in Co-Writer, is the ability to do topic dictionaries. So as you can see on screen, there are topic dictionaries, but look what happens if, just say I'm doing something really specific like recycling. Okay, so I'm looking over on the left-hand pane and I can see my existing Co-Writer topics. Doesn't look like there's anything on recycling. But have a look over on the other side. So let's just cancel that. Let's just type in the word. Okay, so I've turned off the environmental issues. Obviously recycling was part of that topic dictionary, but I've turned it off now. So now I'm typing in recycling, and like it's not even coming up anywhere until I get to like the last letters. And if you've got a kid with literacy difficulties, they might not get that far. So now let's go into the topic dictionary. I've turned off environmental issues. Let's type in recycle again. Sorry about that. Okay, what they've got over on the right-hand pane, what we're seeing is that it's going to create a topic bank based on what it's pulling from the web. It's called web scraping. They're going to scrape through the web and find words related to recycling. So it's creating that topic now. We must wait for it. It's accessing the internet to do that. So a lot of these word prediction apps actually do need the internet. So now we've created a topic bank called recycle, and now I can start typing in the word recycle, and you can see that has come up straight away. Okay, fantastic, right? Very cool. So can you see that's why you might choose co-writer of something else. You can actually be really, really, really specific in your word banks as well. Like maybe you have a kid who's writing about, I did Brisbane Broncos the other day when I was testing it. Let's try the Brisbane Lions. There they are, the Brisbane Lions. I'm going to create a whole word bank around Brisbane Lions. And let's see when I go down here, if I type in football comes up straight away. You know, like that wasn't, you probably usually wouldn't have come up. I can't even think of it. What do you do in AFL football? I don't know. I can't think of any Brisbane Lions appropriate words. Great example, Ananda. Here we need I think I need to write a sentence. My favourite football team is the Brisbane Lions. There it was. Okay, so when in the context of a sentence it did a little bit better. Okay, settings. You can change the voices and the highlighting and la-di-da like that. You're sharing, you can share your text all those different ways, including Google Drive, which is cool, Dropbox, all of that sort of thing. You can also, that was just me adding a new one on the last button there. So that's co-writer. So that's app number 1 in our word prediction. App number 2 is the text help iReadWrite. And again, it has its own features. It looks slightly different, but that's okay. So here we go. We're going to type in the center here, and my word predictions are actually going to appear up over on the side, on the left-hand pane here. So again, we must save. There it is. So I can see save has appeared over on my left-hand pane. To make it go into my text, I swipe it. The environment. See, I didn't have to add any word banks. It was smart enough to guess what word I was trying to say then. Put a full stop in. Push play.
We must save the environment.
You can hear we've got the Lee voice there as well. Okay, so you can see one of the things that is really good is when you're typing, if you're looking at the word and you're not sure, if you hold your finger down on it.
Environment.
I'll just stop him for a second. When I held my finger down on my possible choices, it brings me up a visual dictionary. So the description of the word plus pictures of the word. So if I'm not sure whether that's the right word that I want to use, I can hold down on the word and check it by having it read to me, but also have that visual dictionary with the definition there. So there is a beautiful tool that puts iReadWrite in a different category from the last one that we looked at. They're not, you know, they both do somewhat similar and the same things, but they've got different features, as you can see. We've also got text options. We've got our different settings of all the different stuff that we can change. One of the things that we can change is the swipe to insert. So instead, before I was showing you to put a word and I swiped my finger, this time now I have to double. So I tapped it once and it said it out loud for me.
Band.
If I double tap on it, it sticks it in. So just different settings that you can set up on there. And again, you can share your text in all those different ways, copy and paste it into other things. There's all those different things that you can do within that app. So that was number 2 in our word prediction apps. Number 3 we're going to look at is the ClaroSpeak. ClaroSpeak has, oh there you go, there's where I was writing my thing before. So again, we have different settings. You can buy different voices, set up the text and the font and the echoing and the word, how you set up the word prediction. It does have the learn as you type. So, and quite a lot of them do actually. The more you use the word prediction, the more it starts remembering the likely combinations or the most common words that you use. So let's write a persuasive speech.
Everyone.
So I did any needs.
Needs.
To. Oopsie, I forgot my space.
To.
Oh, I didn't like recycle.
Recycle.
Has it remembered it? There, it's remembered it. So the next time I went to write it, it starts remembering. What you might not have noticed, this one that did something different to all the others, when I punctuated my sentence, it was reading it out aloud to me, okay? I'll do it again. This is
a test.
Okay, so you can see the text is being read aloud to me as I
Everyone needs to recycle. This is a test.
Okay.
Everyone needs to recycle.
Stop. All right, so you have the text there. Now, once you've inserted text, you can copy and paste text in here from other places. Okay, you can clear the text, you can paste text in, all those sorts of things. You can, now here's a very, very cool thing, is you again, like a previous app that we might have looked at, you can actually save the text that you've done as an audio file for listening back to later. So there's just another little tricky thing that it does. The word prediction is pretty good, and you've got the sharing features of what you can do with your text. And as I said, having the text read aloud to you after you finish typing is a really important strategy for teaching kids how to proofread their work, to find the mistakes that they've made, which most kids are not very good at proofreading. I can hear you all nodding your head in agreement with me. Kids are hopeless at proofreading their work. So having it read back aloud to them is a really, really easy instructional strategy that we can do straight away, a technology strategy that's successful for lots of students. So that was number 3, ClaroSpeak. Now we have to look at the last one called Write Online. And again, it has its own features as well. Okay, so here we are in here. Now, let's go back to, say, maybe the World War II example that I have to write about World War II. First of all, I'll just do a test sentence. I think we just need to wait for it to load. Okay, it's coming now. Germany did the German. It's remembering that I've been here before, which is good. Okay, so you can start typing and you can see the word prediction happening up along the top. The really powerful thing that I like most about Write Online is, so over on my cool toolbar here, I have this grid bar button here that takes me to what's called my word bank. So when I click on it, I don't have anything in it at the moment, but let's go ahead and create a word bank now. So I'm going to click on here into my edit button, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a brand new word bank. So let's call it World War II. Create that. So now I have a new grid that's going to allow me to create a word bank. Now, I could sit here and brainstorm and add all my individual words, or I could do something way faster and way easier, which I'm sure everybody's all for way faster and way easier, right? I can go back to simple Wikipedia where I was before, and I can find some of that text that I was looking at. I'm looking at it in the simplified view again. So maybe we just want to pick up this background information. So let's just click and drag through some of that text there. You do want to avoid pictures. So I say copy. So I've copied the text off the website, and then I go back into Write Online, wherever it was. There it is. Now I'm going to push that magical blue button up here. Let me highlight it and show you. Paste A to Z. That means it's going to paste that text that I took out of that other website and paste it into an alphabetical listing. Oh, so cool. Now, it's going to do it, but it's asking me, because of course I've got lots of the common words like and that and have and those sorts of things, so it's probably best that we exclude those. So we'll exclude those. And now we have Mussolini, Germany, Allies, Asia, nationalists, Russian result. Like, we've got all those words that are all going to be relevant to writing about World War II. So now let's say go. So now I've got this alphabetical listing. So I can just tap on words. I'm not making a sentence there. That wasn't very clever. So I'll just go back and start again. I don't know really anything about World War I, by the way. Go to my word bank, German. Okay, so if when I'm in here and I'm not certain of the word that I want to use and I want to listen to it, I can double tap on the sound shift button and I can tap on the word and then I can have it read aloud to me. Now, unfortunately, you can't hear it because my audio has dropped out with my mirroring here, but trust me, it does work. So I can tap through my different words in my word bank. And what other words can we do? The German, army, everything's going a bit slow. Again, the word prediction is accessed off the internet, so it's just having a bit of a think about it. I'm not sure how to spell invaded. Oh, I don't have to. I'll have to spell it out. See if my word prediction catches up to me. There it is. And then let's see. Oh, Poland's not there. Okay, well, that's okay. I didn't really check all of the words that came in, so there it was there. Now, again, you didn't hear that, but what I like about Write Online is when you punctuate, when you put the full stop on, it reads you back your sentence automatically. The other ones, you kind of had to tell it to do that. With ClaroSpeak, you didn't. But I like that I can do that. I've obviously got settings that I can change, the spell, that we've got a spell checker, the predictor, the appearance, the speech and stuff. But being able to create your own word bank with that A to Z listing is the most powerful thing about using the Write Online. So you've got the combination, you've got the word prediction, the word banks, and then the text being read aloud to you. Great writing tool for a kid or a person with literacy difficulties. So that was the number 4 app in our word prediction apps. So hopefully you can see and think and analyze for yourself which of those apps has the features that most matches the student that I work with. All right, we're on the home run now, and I know that you're eagerly anticipating and waiting for the number top 10 app, the number 10 in the list, and you don't shoot the messages, all I'm going to say, because Greg wanted the top 10 app to be pick your own. Pick any app. Pick what app suits you. And I guess the reason that we had the discussion is that there are so many literacy apps. Like, we've just shown you just such a tip of the iceberg, small handful of ones that can be adapted across places today. That was what we were trying to do. But really, there are so many, and it's really, really important that you, as the educator and within your educational team, that you try and think about that whole set framework. Okay, what does the student need? What is the environment then? What task are they trying to complete? And trying to match the right tool to that is really specific for their needs, because it's not always going to be instantly, just because it's on the top 10 list for it to be the one that you should use. A couple of the things that might help you is you can consult, Greg has been putting together for a couple of years now this comprehensive review and list of apps for the literacy support. So that's a really good go-to point that you can check out, and it has useful video links for each app, because sometimes it's good to watch a video of an app before you choose to buy it, a review. So go and check out that literacy support list on our website, so search and find that on there. That might be really useful. And Greg also wanted me to show you one other trick and tip that we have been doing quite a lot. Go into Safari, and what we're going to do is we'll just do a basic a Google search. Okay, so maybe we'll just type in World War II into Google Go. Okay, so here we are in Google, and we've typed in World War II, and of course it's giving us a whole lot of information about Google, but about World War II on the web. I don't know whether you ever noticed, but in here we've got web. Okay, we can also search about World War II images or videos, but there's also a more button, and when you click that more button, there's an ability for you to search for apps. So I can click apps and wait, it's searching. And what it's going to actually bring up is it's bringing us up some fighting games, but also some interactive apps, specifically around the topic area of World War II. So let's try another one. Maybe today we talked about word prediction. Search, and it's searching applications. So you can see here, there's iReadWrite that we showed, but there's a few that have word prediction that we didn't actually include in our list today. But so this is a way that you can go and search if you're looking for something in particular for your student. Maybe you're looking at time concepts in maths. You can type in, and then you can see that you might come up with some specific things. So this is easier in some ways than using the App Store, because sometimes in the App Store, unless you type in the name of the app correctly and specifically, it might not always show up. So by typing in the concept and then clicking that more button and clicking on the apps, it allows you to search for apps by keywords rather than having to know the exact name. So that's one way you can, please yourself to find out how you might access that perfect app that meets the needs for your classroom, for your students. Now, stop before you go. Just a few extra cheap free ones to, not cheap, but free. Sketch, iBooks, Nosby, Evernote, check them out. They are organizational tools, reading tools, make edits to images tools, to-do lists. They might also be great in your classroom, and they're free. Check them out. If you want more information, go back here to our literacy support list where Greg has explained them more, but they just were added in as an extra last slide for you. Haha, we're done. That is the top 10 for summer series, and we've been talking about literacy supports today, and I thank Mr. O'Connor for helping me through with this presentation today. It's a really, really exciting, interesting area, something that's relevant for many of us working in schools, and I'm being very pleased to be able to bring it to you today as part of our Spectronics online subscription service. Now, keep up to date with releases of our online content via Facebook, Twitter, and on the blog. And it's that time of the day where I say, come to our conference in May. It'll be upon us before we know it. And look at our wonderful lineup of keynotes. And this is an exciting addition if you haven't already heard, but there's a new way to be there. We have virtual registrations. So we are going to be making recordings of our most popular, most comprehensive sessions, and they will be available for you to watch online. So if you live in the middle of nowhere and can't get to the Gold Coast in May, yet still want to engage in professional learning, of course you do, then you can just sign up on our virtual registrations. Hey, hope you found this useful. There's lots and lots of other valuable information that you can access on our Spectronics online subscription service. And I thank you for being here today. My name's Amanda Hartman, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.